Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the village board meeting, 7 o'clock, Monday, July 8th, 2024. We'll have a roll call of officers.
Yeah, Renee Guy, Sarah Heisler, Chris Beer, Rose Sowers, and Kevin.
No, Sarah's.
Open meeting law compliance check.
Oh, she is here. Oh, there she. Yeah.
Will all please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public input. No public input. Okay, then we go to Belgium Area Chamber of Commerce report.
Ready? Just a few things. First of all, this Friday is Summer Nights Live. It's the second one, two for the summer, so I hope you guys can make it out. It's restaurant night, so we have a really nice Friday restaurants that'll be there. Coyotes will have their food truck there doing a fish fry. Boots Barbecue will be there. Pizza Ranch, big subs. Lemon Zello, which is a lemonade vendor, will be there. We have a really nice night market. And we're hoping to get a softball game together. We're still short a few players. Yes, we would want to play this game softball. Have them sign up. Then on Sunday, July 28th, we're doing Splash Pad Sunday down here. And there'll be free ice cream, plus our wealth advisors is giving away some coolers and maybe some water, lunch bottles and stuff. I believe the fire department will be there. So it's a really fun afternoon out there with whoever wants to come. So that is from 2 to 4 on Sunday, July 28th. And then Saturday, September 14th, we're still moving full steam ahead on block parties. So we have 5 block parties that we're going to be doing. Locations are set. For the most part, it's a lot of parks. So there'll be one here at Village Square. There will be one at Community Park, one at Heritage Park, one at Coyotes. And the 5th one will be on Gaston Fort. So that'll be the only one that'll be on a street, but it's a dead end. So we have the party captains working on what they want to do and how they want to do everything, but they'll be in touch with people in their neighborhoods. And we have a DJ that'll be at every block party, so it'll be fun time. So any questions?
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the Marshall report.
Mark, the truck park on Peter Zane down was there for a few days, and that what happened is the guy was there and he went with his buddy on vacation. Well, was there while he was gone on vacation.
Oh, no.
They got it moved off of there, and then I had 2 dumpster violations. One was a mattress and one was a light fixture with the ballast in. And then I had also called for trash in the backyard, which was cleaned up. And then it calls for 2 different dog bites. And by the time the one person called me, the other people had already called the sheriff's department, so they handled the dog bites. And that was good for the month.
Brad, is there anything that Leon can do as far as pursue anything for dogs attacking people or biting?
Well, and I'm sure department, there's limited things they can do if there's sometimes they will quarantine an animal if there's something that's documented, but usually you need someone to file a report, verified report of the incident. And so far as, we do have ordinances to enforce, dogs that are, vicious dogs or dogs that aren't controlled, that draw police and are going after people. So there's ordinances, that we can enforce also. The factor with those is making sure again that people have to be willing to make a statement to you and writing citations, potentially more will bring.
Right, because I've had one where he didn't want to complain to him, he got nipped by the dog, but he didn't want to file a report or anything, so. There's really not much you can do.
Are these big dogs? Or is it like a Chihuahua?
No, we're fairly good sized dog.
Oh, okay. I was just meaning, is it like a little yapper? Is it like Rosie? She'll bite you. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, anybody got anything else for Village Marshal? If not, we'll go on to 8A. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th Village Board meeting.
I'll second.
Motions are made and seconded. Any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Whoa. Motion passes.
Came in hot.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a little slow.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. Approve tennis and pickleball resurfacing project.
I have a pallet. Here's some sports court. We have a for that for our new tennis and pickleball courts, so I'll turn everything over to Alex and he can show you what we want to do there and show how it's gonna look or example of what they do, so. Yeah.
Really, the biggest thing for us with sport board is really taking a longer term approach to those tennis and pickleball courts. And maybe what would be considered the traditional or the usual route. So instead of coming in with kind of more of a color coat paint job to those courts, what we're looking to do is come in with a suspended sports surface. And lay that over top of the surface there. So with that, well, really the biggest thing is that durable surface. So the surface is gonna come with a 15-year warranty. Realistically, we're going to get 20+ years out of the surface before we really need to do anything major to it. And during that entire time, we're gonna get safety for those sports as well. So we're gonna go from the 0-inch shutfall height protection or concrete or asphalt up to 13 inches of the surface. So really the biggest thing is now patrons, village residents using those courts. Once they get used to them, it's now instead of feeling like you get ran over and your knees are falling off, your ankles are sore after playing 2 games. Now maybe we're getting 4 games out of that because we've actually got someone for that shock to go into the surface. Any questions that I can help answer?
Do we have to do any maintenance to get them to last longer?
No, pretty much, self-sufficient, with the site that we're looking at there at the village park. You know, really the only maintenance I could see with that location is just making sure as we're going by with the lawnmowers, as far as lawns crew. Just kick the grass the other way when you're mowing the lawn and then maybe spend 5, 10, 15 minutes with a leaf blower after you mow, just to make sure we don't have any debris kind of building up underneath the courts. Really the only time I see maintenance needing to be done is if we've got a lot of trees underneath the court or around the court, where we've got a lot of organic stuff coming down. And kind of that can build up on the court. And the other time is courts, more so on the residential side, is the courts aren't getting used. And now that organic debris that just kind of naturally build up doesn't get kind of shaken or kind of shooken and break down. So those are the only times that I see that kind of stuff build up underneath the court. In which case, come back, it's a fully suspended surface, so you can lift up the surface, pressure wash the base, pressure wash the surface, reinstall everything, and you're up and running again. And that process is not anything that you need to hire sport board for.
Right.
I would prefer you didn't. But it's simply human pain and suffering on this one problem. So.
How big of squares are those? Are those interlocking, I imagine?
Yeah, so they're interlocking, they're each 9.842 inch square, so it's a 25 centimeter square. So if something were to happen, that's all you need to replace. For order extras, you'll have that stock. For the install purposes, we're certainly installing larger sheets of them at a time. So it's something for the install in 2 days probably.
And those squares, are they come colored already to whatever they choose?
Yep, so colors, they come colored, and we paint all of our own game lines on after the fact to make sure that we can actually get everything accurate, take the hard measurements, make sure that we're staying.
And then you paint on the spots or whatever if we sell
Yep, absolutely. So that's painted on, same paint that we paint the logos on, the game lines on. Even that paint is not something that we're coming back every 5 to 7 years. It's something that, the paint that we use, it's a marine based paint for the outdoor environment. And realistically, paint should last as long as the board does. If it doesn't, generally, we're gonna notice it within the first year. Best workmanship, we're gonna come out and take care of that problem. If it's not, then it's generally loose. We've got a board north of Minneapolis that we have to repaint about every 5 years because it gets that much use that the lines are really wearing. That's why we build them. We love that. We'll take care of it.
There's not much chance of fading.
Well, over time, ultimately the sun wins. We're using more UV stabilizers than what the car industry uses. So we're doing our best to put up a good fight. The biggest thing is it's gonna fade uniformly over time. So it's not gonna be something where you get an eyesore after
Right.
10 years. It's gonna fade uniformly, and really that fading is probably gonna start somewhere in year 10 to 12. So we're gonna get a good chunk of change, a good amount of time before we even see that thing gonna start. And it happens so slowly, you don't notice it until one day you go by and it's faded.
Yeah. So after like 10 years, you can freshen up the colors.
You can, generally for those, we do have a clear coat application that we can apply to bring that color back. Realistically, I don't like using it, just from the feedback, having used it a couple of times, really that it really only brings the color back for a couple of years at a time. And so then it becomes something where we're just kind of chasing that, whereas if you come in, pressure wash everything, that kind of gets the dirt and maybe that grime off, brings the
Sure.
color back just as good for a little bit. And can do that for a whole lot less.
You mentioned that we can do basic maintenance, like get rid of underlying
Debris.
debris, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can do that would void the warranty? I'm looking for unpleasant surprises for being in the woodwork.
That's a good question. I will be as surprised as you. Really, the biggest thing that we see is just kind of the lawnmower wins every time. We don't have to worry about that. We got it 40 times 10. And so it really would just be kind of those misuse applications or just kind of those weird instances where we would have something inside the port that would be sharp enough, hard enough, heavy enough to damage a square. In which case we would then need to damage enough that we would need to order more. And then that's where we might get into a situation. We'll have extras, so you have to completely deplete the attic stuff. Situation.
Fair enough, thanks.
No, and I've been with the company for this my 9th summer. I've yet to see a warranty case, flooring itself. Outdoor, I think we've replaced, well, maybe a half dozen ports where they've had just spot damage, and most of it is from lawnmowers. We've had a hammer get dropped off a roof onto a port.
Oh, nice.
And that's much it.
Are you able to roll the cord up to clean under it and roll it back, or do they fall apart?
In spots you can, in general, it's gonna be easiest to kind of just zip the cord apart into sections and kind of pull it. But if there's a specific area that you want that's at the edge, you can. I would say most of the time we'll be zipping it, kind of unzipping that cord into sections and pulling it across.
Is there a long wait for once I order it?
Right now, there it is, but that's relative. Right now, manufacturing lead time is 6 weeks.
So realistically, with the logo painting, we're looking probably 7 weeks from order to install. Install itself, 7 to 2 weeks.
Anybody got any more questions?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve tennis and pickleball resurfacing project.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Okay, one thing, what is,
I'll talk about the price here a little bit. I mean, the sports court, so came in at $18,361.16. I mean, there's some other work that we gotta do. We gotta do some fencing. We gotta rip the old blacktop out. We gotta put new concrete in there, so. When I add everything up like that, that comes to the
220.
just about 225. And went out, we just, Vicky sent out, donation letter, the
I
response
haven't
letter.
sent the letters out yet, but I did have one party that I contacted prior to the board's decision last month, that just to feel them out. And they have replied back, they are going to do one of the pickleball courts for actually 15,000, which is a little more than what we were asking for that. But I will be getting letters out to as many of the other organizations and businesses in the area, hopefully this week.
So, Alan, question for you, and when do you really need to know about sponsors? I mean, before,
Ordering.
We would, we've got some grace period, I would say. Within 4 weeks of approval, and when we place the order, we'll want those all in. We've been absolutely not letting corporate breathe because their lead times are uncertain. They're not we're not happy with that 6-week lead time.
Right.
So we're hoping to see that go down to 6 buses. 4 weeks, and it gives us some grace period to get that in. Get it approved, get the proofs. If we could get high quality vectored files of those sponsors, that's gonna speed up that local process as well. It is something where stencils are painted on. We are printing stencils, buying those, and hand rolling everything as far as.
what would happen if a donor were to come in after we had placed the order and everything? Is there a way we can add a sponsor on there after it's completed, or?
Absolutely. Yep. Their logo just gets a little bit more expensive because we'll just, what we'll do is we'll buy extra pieces. And so their logo will get painted on brand new pieces. Those pieces will get shipped straight to our logo painter, he'll paint them, and then we just pop them in.
But there's probably a fee for that, so what does a logo cost up and beyond our project?
Yep, depending on complexity, something like what we would be looking at would range from. Realistically, they ship 1,400 to 2,400. And obviously, the simpler the logo, the better. We'd like to keep it to no overlapping colors and 2 or 3 colors. So our village of, just as an example, our village of Belgium logo, simple enough for us to actually paint and execute and look good. So that would be probably closer to probably 1,600 to 1,800 for the size that we would like.
is there a deadline for when we can order so that you can get it installed this fall yet?
Yes and no, just depends on kind of how we want to approach completion. So if we want everything in game lines painted, we're gonna want to order really no later than mid-August with our current lead times. That gives us hopefully an late September, early August, or early October install. Our hard cutoff is more paint related. We can't paint those game lines if the temperature is below 50 degrees. And so it won't become something where, we can certainly install those courts, You know, if it's 30 degrees out, we can be out there installing the ports, we just can't paint the lines, so that would be something where. Soon as the temperature warms in the spring, we'd be out painting those dam lines. This year, it ended up about mid-May, where we could comfortably get out and paint.
So would it be fair to say in terms of logos, if we were to have it by the end of August? Confirmation and the logos to you that we, if we, then we still get this fall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody got any more questions? The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes.
Scares me every time, even though I know it's coming.
Okay, we'll go on to new business. Approve restated intermunicipal agreement by and between the Village of Belgium, Village of Fredonia, Town of Belgium, and Town of Fredonia for the provisions of ALS paramedic level services.
so the EMS committee is recommending this modified agreement. It's any serious changes in this, that things in red have been added, the things that are struck out are being removed. The most important changes are the, a budget schedule has been set, so it now has deadlines for when Fredonia has to have the budget to us, and it has deadlines for us to, if we have to approve it, to have that response back to them. And it also puts in place a solution, if you will, if one or more of the municipalities do not approve a budget increase, what would happen? So that we don't have to drag this out past the budget year. They did change the 5% increase per year to 6%. And if one of the municipalities were to deny whatever increase needed to be approved, then it would automatically be set at a 1.06% increase. So 6%. More than the previous year. And then basically the last added thing was that this restated agreement would supersede any previous agreement. And any modifications are now listed in Appendix A. There was a clause in there that mentioned it in the past, but it didn't say where that would be noted. So this Appendix A does now list the sections in the two townships that do not participate in this program.
Is this agreement? Is that that we'd be, communities would be responsible for buying like a new ambulance and stuff?
Yeah. No, ambulance is no longer a part of anything. That was something that, and I can get into that when we get into the budgets a little bit more, but. Ambulance expenses are not a part of this intermunicipal agreement at all. This is only for the paramedic intercept program. That was a little unclear in the previous agreement, but that has been clarified now. In the budgets, and the committee has gone over that in some detail. You know. So each of the municipalities will have this agreement up for approval. You guys approve it tonight. The others, there's two other municipalities that are, I believe, going to be addressing it this week. And I believe the Town of Belgium does it next, the first Monday of August. So if everyone approves it, then this will be signed. I make a motion that the village board approve the restated intramural agreement for EMS paramedic intercept.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 10B, approve intermunicipal agreement by and between the Village of Belgium, Village of Fredonia, Town of Belgium, and Town of Fredonia for repayment of costs incurred in excess for grant for a joint ALS paramedic level service from Ozaki County
So what this, okay.
for fiscal years 23, 24, and 25.
So what this is that Fredonia approached the committee and essentially said, if we proceed with the hiring schedule that everyone seems to want to get fully staffed 24-hour paramedic service, the grant is not going to cover their expenses. So they basically said, we're not going to do that unless the other municipalities agree to cover that excess. So this agreement basically says that every year Fredonia will get their audited financial statement. They will share that with us, provide a report saying what their expenses and revenues for the program were. After all 3 years have come in, they will calculate, and it outlines exactly what costs are in that. The excess will then be split according to the same formula as in our agreement between the municipalities. And they have set a limit to that excess of $293,358, which is the best guess at the time of the committee of what that excess would come in if all goes according to with the hiring staff. So that would be the max that we would spend. And for us, that would mean we would be responsible for $83,420. Now, if our referendum passes this year, we would have that additional funds a year before our first full payment that would be able to offset those expenses. Brad, did you had a chance to review these briefly?
I had the other agreement, I didn't get this one.
Oh, you didn't? I swore I said.
I'm sorry, I'll take a look at that, so I would ask if you do prove it just condition upon my review.
And not to speak to the committee, but it is my understanding if all four do not agree with this, Fredonia is going to pull back on staffing. They're not going to fund that themselves. So they will then limit staffing to what the branch.
Right.
Can I just ask one question? So part of the shared revenue maintenance of effort program, that money is supposed to go 100% towards the fire department, part of the legislative agreement. How much is that dollar amount that will potentially not affect the referendum or go toward? So part of that maintenance of effort that we did, all the chiefs had to do. The state legislature said that money has to 100% go towards fire department costs. That's the reason for that maintenance of effort.
It is
So
for emergency, not just fire department, EMS,
it's for fire EMS.
fire and EMS, right?
So-
Just fire department.
So I'm asking what that dollar amount is, that will that affect? How much we have to go towards that referendum?
The shared revenues are not tied to this at all. The shared revenues, we have to show that we are reducing funding for fire EMS. but it's additional shared revenues.
So when I was at the Chiefs Convention, they specifically had a legislature that said that the additional revenues coming to municipalities from the maintenance of effort shared revenue program are supposed to be going towards fire EMS programs. And that there's a lot of municipalities that are going around it, and there's new legislation coming out that's gonna change that verbiage, that it has to go to that. So the way we were understanding and what he was explaining was that the additional revenues coming from shared revenue are supposed to be going towards the fire EMS programs.
But I would have to do a little bit of looking in to see what portion of the shared revenues increase, because there's two components to it, and not both of them are tied to the fire and EMS, and how much of that it is. But we are currently spending way more just to what we send to the fire department than what we're getting in additional fire shared revenues. So there is no problem there that we are spending that money on fire EMS.
Just,
But I would have to look at the exact numbers, you know, the stuff that the first year, all estimates and, you know, there's a lot of
it
vagueness.
was specifically noted that a lot of municipalities are using the increase of shared revenue that was passed part of Act 12 towards other programs other than fire EMS, and it's not what it's intended to do. So,
Yeah.
there's gonna be some legislative changes coming down. That are gonna force municipalities to use that towards fire EMS protection or intended for. So
It
it's
becomes,
just an additional revenue source, I believe, that the village would have. Municipalities would have towards a referendum versus, you know, it could possibly potentially lower your referendum amount. That would be the way I was understanding, so.
right, I mean, we would have to look at how much the shared revenues we're getting and compare that to our total spending for fire and EMS. Not just this new program.
Maybe we need a motion for this one.
Yes, they are looking for each municipality to improve this agreement.
And this is the agreement that you had not yet reviewed.
If you can, yeah, subject to that.
Well, I'll make the motion that we agree with the intermunicipal agreement for the refunding of repayment of costs incurred pending our village attorney's review of the agreement.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10C approved 2024 joint paramedic service budget.
So the agreement, we were supposed to have gotten the budgets for approval if it exceeded 5% above previous year, which this year did. Fredonia did not do that originally. That has been corrected now, so they have provided a budget for 2024 that they are asking for retroactive approval of, and then they have provided a budget for 2025, which is also in excess of the 5% limit, so they would like approval on that. They are two separate line items. Both of them are on the same form showing what they're asking for approval.
So
That's 6%, right?
Well, it's currently 5%. But in any case, both of these are more than 6%. So even if it changes to 6%, we still will need, each municipality has to.
So if I read this right, the excess for us would be $83,000.
No, this is, there's no money coming from, this is all part of the grant program part, so we aren't paying this, but the agreement still does require that any budget has to be approved and so that whether we're paying it or not. So, you know, we need,
Oh,
and because this will directly impact what they can set the 26 budget at, it's important that they have a 25 budget approved, because that will determine what they can do in
for the
26.
26.
So this is really a bookkeeping issue. It should have been, the 24 should have been done before, but, and they are just ahead of schedule with 25s.
So really, none of this is coming out of our pocket,
Well,
Ye-
it will if we,
right?
since we have approved the, intermunicipal repayment agreement, yes, it will. So you should review the budget,
Right.
you know, keep that in mind.
So I'm just gonna back up a little bit here. Um. We are not responsible for the fire chief of Fredonia's salary, are we?
The only, when they started this program, they doubled his salary for the extra time he's doing for billing and stuff with the paramedic program. So the only thing that is budgeted to this program is the increase, which is 50% of his wages. So this budget, the paramedic budget right now includes 50% of the fire department, of the fire chief's salary and wages, which, I mean, 50% is $800. So he's definitely getting part-time wages.
And that 50% is split across all the other.
Correct, so our portion of what we're paying
Paid
for that
time.
is, yeah,
Okay,
So 50% is 8840.
correct, that's half of his salary.
I saw that already.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
Oh, okay, where are we at? We're in the 20
NC.
and C.
I'll make a motion to approve line item 10C 2024 joint paramedic service club.
I'll second that.
Motion's are made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10D approved 2025 joint paramedic service budget. Basically the same, right?
Yeah,
it's the same sheet, they're on both. on the
Yeah.
front.
We need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 joint paramedic service budget.
I'll second.
Motion's are made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 10E approved 2025 to 2034 joint paramedic service capital improvement plan.
So part of the agreement is that if, they are to submit a separate 5 and 10-year capital improvement, plan. So, in here, they have in 2025 to, spend $100,000 for, to do some remodeling of the firehouse to give sleeping quarters for the paramedic. Then in 3034, they are scheduling to replace the paramedic defibrillator heart monitor. This is not the one on the ambulance. This is a separate one. They did buy a new one for the paramedic when the program started. And then the paramedic chase vehicle also, which they bought used, when they started in 23 to be replaced in 34 also. So that vehicle, the one they have currently will be 15 years old in 34, I believe they said. So they have, put this plan up. And, if it is approved by all the municipalities, then the amounts listed here will be added to our cost share each year. And so it'd be 17,000 each year added for capital. That is part of the overall 10-year, they went.
Oh, I see that.
34 budget.
Yeah, you did.
So those numbers are in there. But it is required that each municipality approve any capital improvement plan. Well, then it won't happen until all of them agree. So they would have to come back with a new one.
Oh my. I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 to 2034 Joint Paramedic Service Capital Improvement Plan.
I'll second that.
Motions are made and seconded. Any discussion on this? Motions are made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Wait,
10F, approve village staff to prepare a resolution for referendum and begin marketing for a November referendum.
Committee meeting, we had representatives from the Towns Association and Ellery, both Ellery rep and Fredonia's Ellery rep. They presented a very good referendum here, presentation that outlined the steps, and basically by mid-August, there's a definite schedule that has to be followed for a resolution to happen in November. And we cannot do it now because we have to wait for some numbers to come from the Department of Revenue, of what our levy is, so that we can have in the revenue question exactly what our levy would be without the increase and in the increase. I just personally don't want to start doing any of this without formal action by the board, which is why I put this on here. So I would like you guys to formally say yes, start preparing for a referendum and start, getting some marketing out there. We won't have the, there's some financial work that has to happen yet to come up with the exact amount. That will be a part of the actual resolution.
Vicky, do you have a sense of when you might be hearing those numbers?
Yeah, we get the numbers from, let me see here, they've got it in here. So between August 15th and August 26th is when the village board has to pass a resolution. So unfortunately, that means we will have to have a special meeting to pass that. But we do not get our levy limit with the net new construction until around the beginning of August, and they are not finalized until August 15th. So we cannot have the final numbers. We'll know around August 1st what our levy limit is for the year. But it won't be finalized officially until the 15th. So then after we get that number, we can draft the exact resolution with the exact numbers.
So tight time.
It is. And that's for anybody going for a November, that's just when the levy limits come through. So, I'm going to be, for the August meeting, I will have numbers saying what I recommend we do for a resolution amount based on, and I'm gonna look into what Pat said with regard to the shared revenues and such too. but I will have concrete numbers then. Any action you take today will not mean if you guys end up saying, we don't wanna go to to referendum, nothing you do today will change, you can cancel.
Well, that being said, then, I move to approve the village staff, begin the initial preparation of a resolution for referendum. And begin putting a marketing plan together.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Motions are made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10G. Approved mailing initial notification letter to property owners of needed sidewalk repair before issuing order of repair per village ordinance 236-10C and Wisconsin stat 66.0907. 236-10. Construction and repair sidewalks repair from letter number 1. Sidewalks repair form, letter number 1.
So Peter, what I did here with the basketball, there was something that there was sidewalk slab that was on Penny Lane. About 2 inches down, on the picture. And there's some other areas in the village, so there's 4 areas. The last area, just like I'm talking about, is the one at 264 next way. That letter should be sent to Eric Builders. Because that's a new home. And Roger had told him to get that fixed, last year already, and they said they would do it when they're building another home up there, but now they're not building nothing there, but.
It looks like a construction tractor running over.
Yeah, it looked like,
Well, yeah, a concrete truck did it.
Yeah.
So, and they're saying that one we should send to Eric because it's not fair to the homeowner because they're not living there a year yet, so.
right,
That was damage done to when they were pouring concrete. For their decking, so. And then the other one I just questioned is 276 Penny Lane. That sidewalk slab is only down by an inch, and we all let that go to about 2 inches, but. So you can send them a letter, but or do we wait till next year?
really. Wait,
Because I'm sure the homeowner, they're gonna say something because it's. It ain't that bad, probably about.
it's really not.
We just noticed it when we were walking around there when I was checking.
You have grinding wheels to grind it down.
And your tradition was to wait for.
Till 2 inches.
2 inches.
Well, it ain't that bad, it's just, I mean, when that 273 Penny Lane, someone said that's a tripping issue, well, that is, if you go there.
Yeah, it is.
Probably 3 inches. But the one in 276,
I don't think we need to do
at one end that's flush and one end that's down.
Anything over an inch is a trip.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I tripped on it.
When you send these letters out, they're gonna question it, so.
Here.
when you send the letters out, what's the timeline?
Well,
30 days.
right now, the letter says a month. I mean, but we would, in past, when, if they couldn't find a contractor for 2 months, we worked with each homeowner.
Yeah,
So we can send it to everybody and then if they complain, then we'll leave it at that.
do we really have to send it to 276?
According to this, it says 8.
Oh, we're sending it, send it, like Danny said, they can deal with it on.
So what if they don't do anything, how you enforce that?
Well, that's once if we send it to 276, technically in 2 months, they have to fix it. If not, then we'll do it.
Okay.
What the village does, it sends them the bill.
We
Village
don't do
doesn't,
it. They don't find their own
Or
contractor.
what if anybody don't follow through and get it fixed?
Then we hire somebody and then,
Oh, okay.
send them the bill.
yeah, then they get the bill.
Got it. Okay. I think we shouldn't send it to
Which,
276.
for the sidewalk, or beside the orders itself, but talking about the job,
Well, I think there might be a policy.
My recommendation is just to be consistent, if it's,
I would have to look in the sidewalk.
it's not written, but what the policy has been.
Yeah.
Say, stay consistent.
As far as like 2 inches or 1 inch,
Right.
yeah, like, I mean.
We'll have to look at the.
Yeah.
I thought there was. I mean, we really never enforce it when it was that small, it was just when it really was unnoticeable, tripping hazard. And
Don't see one currently in our active policy thing unless it's filed somewhere else, but I'm not seeing one. Right off.
I haven't filed with them in my office or other stuff. Or, you know, loved ones.
Okay,
Maybe had to come up with one and.
I feel like we can skip 276. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would. agree.
I trip in
I
my
would
driveway.
to Send it to everybody that you noticed here, just the most egregious one.
Right.
I think it's gotta be a date on there.
Huh?
I think it's gotta be like 2 months, it's gotta be fixed or something, because.
I think we'll have, yeah, we'll have to write a letter and say in 2 months, I mean. Then if they ain't, then we'll hire some.
Right, that'll take you August, September, already.
Sarah did send a message in chat asking about snow and ice. You know, is that, I assume what you mean, Sarah, is having an inch drop gonna cause ice to accumulate?
That was for the pickleball court.
Oh, sorry, I'm.
Through.
Are you making a bet or what?
It's all good.
Not your pay.
No sleeping.
I'm not sleeping.
Is that true though with like the ice? Like, is it gonna cause ice? Is it gonna cause an issue?
Well, I wouldn't wanna be catching up the snowball.
Well, yeah,
Right.
Catch it there. If the grass is way higher and the water sits, you're gonna have it.
I'll make a motion
You guys shovel, I
to
don't.
approve mailing initial notification letter to property owners of the assignment prepared for line item 10G.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this?
Are we moving it from 30 days to 8 weeks? Or are we keeping it?
You're gonna have to, everybody's so busy.
Yeah,
You're gonna have
that was just my question, because I know the letter says 30 days.
Yeah, but
Well, you're gonna scare the pants off of them, Danny.
Get on ball.
All right, well, yeah, all right.
It's if they can't say they can't, I even told.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, no other discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Weird.
Meeting adjourned.
Hit it, Peter. Gotta